WXOS HD1 East St. Louis 101 ESPN is driven by Brown and Crouppen Law Firm. It's time for the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Welcome in, everyone, to our extended post-game coverage, the fourth period on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. Alex Ferrario with you as the Blues fall to the Avalanche tonight, 6-1, an ugly one for St. Louis out in Colorado, but credit where credit is due. This legitimately is the best team that I have ever seen. I wasn't alive in the 70s. I didn't get to see the Montreal Canadiens juggernaut. I didn't see the Islanders three-peat. I slightly remember what those Red Wings teams were in the early 90s, but this Colorado Avalanche team, my goodness, are they going to be a hell of a team to deal with at the end of the season? Everywhere, whether it's goaltending, which I question. Blackwood made some sensational saves tonight on the what scoring chances the Blues could find. But more than anything, this offense from top to bottom is lethal. They're fast, they're big, they're physical. They have elite talent on three separate lines. Defensively, they've got top pair guys playing on your third pair. This is going to be a dangerous team, and I think for Blues fans, you witnessed how far away you are from the top in the National Hockey League. So with that being said, going to be a expedited edition of our fourth period here because an ugly loss doesn't require a whole lot of breakdown, but let's do our Ted Drew's three takeaways.
It's time for tonight's three takeaways, presented by Ted Drew's Frozen Custard, a St. Louis tradition for over 95 years. Unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
First takeaway is just how you got beat. You got outmuscled. You know, I go back to that Jim Montgomery quote after the Buffalo Sabres game where he talked about we have to have more pride in our play and show more physicality. And the Blues just got outmuscled tonight. I mean, the first four goals in the hockey game that were scored were all courtesy of the Blues getting beat to loose pucks, whether it was in front of their crease, whether it was in the neutral zone. Colorado made it look easy on the Blues to score tonight. And that is part of the big issue for the Blues. You know, Jim Montgomery has talked so much about it. We're going to hear it in our soundbite of the night. He's talked so much about how establishing how to play St. Louis Blues hockey is the most important thing for the team this season. He's not as worried about results as he's worried about habits, details, and culture. The culture that Colorado has in place is what Jim Montgomery is trying to establish with his team. And tonight, they lacked it. They lacked everything. They lacked the ability to generate offense. They lacked the fight to win forechecks. They lacked the fight in front of the net. And they left their goaltender out to dry. So that is the biggest takeaway in the hockey game because four goals that were scored, really five if you talk about the one that was taken off from goalie interference, which, side note, I won't go into a tangent on it. Still don't know what goalie interference is. That I thought was goalie interference, and it was goalie interference, but that was nothing compared to the most recent goalie interference that they didn't call goalie interference. So I'll leave that there, but goalie interference still wild to me that nobody really knows what it truly is. Second takeaway, I kind of want to piggyback off of what Joe and Curbs were talking about because I know people are upset about Curbs and Joey sugarcoating or being positive. They're not being positive. They're telling you honest statements about the team. This is bad. This was ugly. But you hope that the future is bright. I mean, that was a great game by Dalibor Dvorsky and Otto Stenberg tonight. And think about what I just said. That was a great game in a game where you got beat 6-1. Nobody had a great game. But Dalibor Dvorsky and Otto Stenberg were the only two players that finished the game tonight as a positive on the ice. They were the only team that did not get outchanced by Colorado. Think about that for a minute. They were the only line that did not get outchanced by Colorado. When it was Dvorsky, Stenberg, and Kyrou, they were 1-1 in scoring chances. When it was Stenberg, Dvorsky, Bergeron, 2-0 scoring chances in favor of the Blues. and I know the matchups were probably more in favor of the Blues than Colorado because they weren't seeing McKinnon or Brock Nelson and Nichushkin, but still, Dalibor Dvorsky is continuing to show signs of why they drafted him 10th overall. Otto Stenberg continues to impress. And Jimmy Snuggerud, I think, has already captured a lot of Blues fans' eyes and hearts. It's just the in-between right now that the Blues are in, and that's the really difficult part for fans to deal with right now. And I totally get it. You wanted to see your team perform better, and this right here tonight was much like what we've heard the Blues talk about in the past of not having that effort or pride that Jim Montgomery has spoke of. This was a game that it was over 60 seconds in. But man, to see Stenberg and Dvorsky and Stuggerud continue to build, that's impressive and that's positive. The problem with that is you hope that they don't get instilled to them the inconsistencies that the Blues have now. You want them to establish their own culture of what they can bring to St. Louis Blues hockey. And then the third takeaway, I think there's going to be a lot of people that carry over the complaints about Jordan Binnington being a part of the Olympics for Team Canada. The team left Binnington out to dry again. And I know Jim Montgomery kept him in the line or kept him in the game, and I'm glad they kept him in the game because you don't want to pull a goaltender after he was announced to be on Team Canada. This was a tough game to be in, and once again, the team didn't show up in front of him. But he struggled in that first period, but really the team didn't create any defensive pressure in front of the net for him. But in the final two periods, he saw 23 shots on goal. On top of the 23 shots on goal, he saw, according to Natural Stat Trick, 4 high-danger scoring chances and let 1 goal go in, and that was Nichushkin with that wrist shot. So I personally still believe Binnington should be on that Team Canada. Look, if he doesn't get the net in the Olympics, it's because of performance, and then people will have their answer. But my gut tells me that at some point Binnington's going to have a big moment for Team Canada in the Olympics. And I think a lot of the national people will, again, see what he did in the Four Nations and say, yep, that's a gamer goalie. It's just the team in front of him that's not playing properly right now. So those are my Ted Drew's 3 takeaways. As always, we want yours. But before we get to those on the other side and have our final look and have our soundbite of the night, let's hear from Jim Montgomery, a quote that he had a couple of days ago that I think puts this game and the result a little bit more into perspective.
It's time to hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, presented by Fisher Window and Door Store, offering quality American-made Marvin windows and doors. Visit their showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, Illinois.
Well, I think ultimately that's the most important part right now, is if we can develop that big picture attitude of this is what a St. Louis Blue is on and off the ice. How you represent yourself in the city, how you come to practice and prepare every day, how you believe in habits and details, so that our fans know what they're going to go out and see, and all of us, so it's everybody involved. It's not just players, it's management all the way down to the guy that sharpens the skates and the guy that tapes wrists. I mean, we all have to elevate our standard, and we've been talking about it a lot, and we got to continue to build on it daily.
So that's Jim Montgomery speaking of the culture, habits, and details that he continues to try and hammer home for this St. Louis Blues hockey team. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll have our soundbite of the night, and we'll close it down with our final look. 6-1 the final scores. The Blues fall to the Avalanche tonight. Alex Ferrario with you. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. Alex Ferrario back with you to talk about my friends over at Classic Air Care. Right now, this time of the year, when it's cold out, you don't want to be caught with a bad furnace, bad HVAC system, and not have a company that's there to take care of you. And I speak so highly of Classic Air Care because they've always been there to take care of me since 2016. I've been using them on both homes that I have lived in, and both homes have had older units, and I have had multiple occasions where I've called them, had them come out, fix the problem. But don't believe me. You hear me talk about it all the time. Believe the people that have used Classic Air Care as well. 5-star reviews. There's thousands of them over on Google Plus and their website, classicaircare.com. Like this one from Jeremy. Woke up to a malfunctioning furnace on Thanksgiving morning. Called Classic Air Care for help. Justin was on call and at my home in under an hour to take care of us on a holiday. Great explanation of what was wrong, quick resolution, great communication. Would definitely recommend these guys for your HVAC needs. Make sure you ask for Justin. So call them today, schedule online, check out the maintenance agreement. It's done wonders for my older units that I've had, kept them going for me when I've needed them to. That's classicaircare.com. Just do me a favor, tell them Alex Ferrario sent you. Classic Air Care and classicaircare.com.
Welcome back to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Final time tonight here on our extended postgame coverage, the fourth period, as the Blues fall to the Colorado Avalanche tonight, 6-1. Had this message sent over to me over on X, talking about the Blues and Avalanche, and they said, Alex, let's compare the Blues to the Avalanche. $96 million to $93 million. St. Louis, ninth highest payroll. Avalanche have two world-class all-stars plus a couple of guys that are all-stars too. Blues have nobody, none, zero. Overpaid everyone on this team. I think there's a little frustration in that message, I would say, but let me address the first part of this. $96 million to $93 million, St. Louis, ninth highest payroll. The Avalanche have two world-class all-stars. Let's not forget the Colorado Avalanche have two first overall draft picks. They have a fourth overall draft pick that should have been a first overall pick, Cale Makar. I guarantee there are teams from that draft that are still kicking themselves that they did not draft Cale Makar. But to get to where they are at now, they had to be the worst team in the National Hockey League 2 times. They had to be a team that had fewer than 30 wins twice. They were a team that in 7 seasons missed the playoffs 6 times. Here's their point total in 6 seasons that they missed the playoffs. 68, 88, 39, 90, 82, 48. To get to where they are at, they had to draft Gabriel Landeskog. They had to draft Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar. And yes, they pulled off some trades to get a Martin Necas, to get a Devon Taves, and a Brock Nelson. Like Mikko Rantanen, they drafted 10th overall, who's how they helped supply this roster. I'm not denying that the Colorado Avalanche have a hell of a hockey team, but you can't necessarily look at it and say the Blues are a complete disaster compared to Colorado, because the Blues consistently were in the playoffs, while Colorado was consistently the worst team, or one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. Do they have guys that are paid higher than the way they are performing? Absolutely. And that is something that Doug Armstrong and his team are going to have to address. $93 million versus $96 million. Yeah, those two teams did not look like there was a $3 million difference in payroll. But a lot of the guys that are high payroll are starting to phase out of the Blues roster. And a lot of the guys that are coming in are the younger players. But let's also not forget that 2 first overall picks and a 4th overall pick are a massive reason why Colorado is as dominant as they are this season. So let's get to our soundbite of the night. Let's get away from this game and go back to the Olympic conversation. Earlier today, Doug Armstrong was talking about the decision for Jordan Binnington on the Olympic roster. Here's our soundbite of the night.
The soundbite of the night is presented by Rocket Convenience Stores. Fuel your car and your daily cravings at Rocket Convenience Stores.
I would say I labored over it more than the rest of the management group and coaches did, which was surprising. I think you go into these events and you want to push for your players, but you don't want to over push. And I was telling the guys today, what amazed me was how comfortable the coaches and management were. That Binnington was one of the 3 right from the get-go, and that they confirmed that again at a December meeting. I think his pedigree of playing in big games is second to none, obviously, in our group. I think we aren't the strongest team in St. Louis right now, and you know, like we played Tampa, and his save percentage was poor the other night right before Christmas, and he had, I think, 3 tip-ins.
Is it fair to say Cooper fought hard for Binnington?
Yes, yeah, as well did as the other coach and management. Jordan's got a lot of supporters.
It's time to take a look back at tonight's game with the final look.
Driven by Pure Performance. Only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
There's not much else to say with this one. The Blues weren't ready to play. The Blues were out-muscled in front of the net, and they got their butts kicked. I mean, plain and simple, that's what Colorado did. Colorado is the best team in the National Hockey League, without question. Nobody is on the same level as them, in my opinion. I've seen Dallas play. I've seen Minnesota play. They're all very, very good. They're not Colorado. And can Colorado continue it? That'll be the question that we kind of watch the rest of the season into the postseason. But for the Blues, it's more of the same issues that have haunted this team. And Jim Montgomery is doing his best to try and get the culture and the team, the mindset, the details, the style, all on the same page. But as he has said in the past, it's commitment to that. If the players want to get there, they have to commit to what the coaching staff is providing to them. And tonight, they just didn't have it against one of the best teams, the best team in the National Hockey League, maybe one of the best teams ever to play in the National Hockey League in this Colorado Avalanche squad. So now you can just wipe away 2025 and open up 2026 in a different mindset. The Blues will go right back at it. They'll have the day off tomorrow, and then they'll open up the new calendar year with a back-to-back. They play Vegas on Friday and then Montreal on Saturday. Both games on home ice, both games in the afternoon from Enterprise Center. Friday will be a 2 o'clock puck drop against Vegas with a 1 o'clock pregame show right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. With all of that being said, just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone for all of the support in this past year. With the St. Louis Blues. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. I tweeted it out. You know, a year ago, we ended 2024 and went into 2025 with a huge win on Wrigley Field in the Winter Classic against the Chicago Blackhawks. and it was a wild ride to get to the playoffs, and unfortunately it's been a disappointing start to this season. But hopefully 2026 can be a lot brighter for us Blues fans. Huge shout out also to Jordan Deacon, who has done a phenomenal job back in our network studio. She has done a great job taking over in this new calendar year, and we truly appreciate her for everything that she does. And we're going to start hearing a lot more of her on air moving forward. And a big thank you to a couple of others as well. Mike Ryder for all of the work that he does for us, to Grant Francis, who is an incredible part of this Blues broadcast team. We would not be able to do what we do without all of you. So hopefully everyone has a wonderful rest of their New Year's. Enjoy the final 35 minutes of 2025. May we all have a wonderful 2026. And be safe the rest of this evening, and we'll talk Friday for Blues and Golden Knights. I'm Alex Ferrario. Have a great rest of your evening. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you on Friday for Blues and Golden Knights right here on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN.
Thanks for listening to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban